Mind happy, man, the focus is strong. And everybody wanna tell me that I'm doing it wrong. I don't care, dog, man, I'm back in the monk. Cause I be doing a bigger picture, man, it's something you want. Yeah, they want a piece of this life, and they want some purpose. They hope that one day they can really get it, it's worth it, I know.
What's up, guys? So, 16 days out? Yeah, it's the 3rd. The show is in 16 days. So, I talked about it a little bit on a post, but I haven't talked about it in a longer video yet, but I had some stuff going on with this pec. So typically this session was just a chest and shoulder focused push day, but I've had to modify that session a little bit just because this was on the verge of not a good injury. So I changed this last week. Typically I wouldn't be changing things this close to show day, but the changes that were made were not drastic and for the most part very similar to what I was already doing, and it just kind of removed some pressure off this, and then I put in some arms. So today's session is nothing crazy. We will focus mostly on getting a pump. I'm not trying to go for any PRs or anything like that right now. Like, the strength is not there, so it's about getting a stimulus, getting blood flow to the muscle, getting close to failure, right? Because we still need that to keep the tissue, but it's nothing crazy today. So 2 products I wanted to touch on that will help me get there first and foremost is, of course, my Labrada Pro Series pump. The Tropical Blast is one of the newer flavors, one of my favorites. It tastes like Skittles. So if you guys have not tried this yet, make sure you do soon. Use Bagley 10, and that will get you a discount. Everything right now that I put into my body kind of goes through me pretty quickly, whether it's food, water, supplements. So typically I would have already had this, but right now I had a little bit of caffeine probably 30 minutes ago, kind of letting that settle in my system, and then this will get really rolling like probably halfway through the workout. All right, so we smashed that, and then EAAs. I've been doing the Labrada Pro Series Intra, but we needed to get those extra carbs out of the system. So just the EAAs covers my bases with hydration, because we've got the coconut water in here, as well as an electrolyte blend. And then the EAAs just kind of continues to feed some protein to the muscle while I'm training. Just kind of helps me keep my my energy up. Energy meaning like ability to keep moving, not necessarily energy like caffeine energy. So we'll mix that up and then we'll go get rolling with this session. So typically, this session was starting with the pec deck, but ever since that injury popped up, putting my shoulder and chest in that fully stretched position just a little sketchy. So instead, we're gonna hit the back of the shoulder, get a warm up on rear delts, get that firing, because I just want to keep some volume in that rear delt. It adds a lot of size to the shoulder in general. So very important thing for back shots, side shots, front shots even, just to make that shoulder get that 3D look. You'll see I kind of changed my body position there. The beginning of the set, I was a bit more close, like square to the cable, and I kind of started to turn away a little bit. Just from changing my torso position, I can change kind of where this is hitting on my rear delt. So if I'm here and I turn away from it, it's gonna stretch the back of my shoulder more. You're good. As I turn away, I'm gonna stretch the back of my shoulder, right? So there's gonna be more emphasis here, and then as I get out here, there's not quite as much tension. If I do the opposite and I face towards it, I'm not gonna be able to get as much stretch across, but there's gonna be a lot of tension here in that fully stretched position. So I'm really leaning into trying to train muscles fully stretched. So I am gonna turn away so that I can get a full stretch across that rear delt and kind of drop off here a little bit. So it's been getting me really good pumps recently, a really good connection recently. So quick little explanation there. A little breather between sides. I don't like to rush, especially right now. Like I ate an hour ago, a little over an hour ago, and I'm already like through that meal. Like my body's already run through it. So I'm already like a little dizzy and stuff right now. So like there's no rushing right now during these sessions. You gotta have all as much time as I need to be able to make it at this point. The logbook, I think, is more important in the off season than it is in prep, but in prep, it still serves a purpose. And that purpose right now is to just make sure that I'm not losing strength. I don't need to be expecting that every time I come in and do a new or hit the same exercise that I'm gonna be making big PRs, but it at least gives me a gauge of, am I still performing at the same level I was last week? Is it harder to still perform the same as last week? And if I'm not performing, why am I not performing, and what could we potentially change, if anything? Is it one of those things we just have to suck up and keep fucking working? Or can we make some modifications somewhere to keep performance high so that we can continue to make sure that we make the changes we need going into the show? So it's not just about beat the shit out of yourself until you get on stage. It's about being smart about these things. So we get one more set here, and then go over to a lateral raise. So we'll go rear delts, side delts, and then that pressing overhead is just it right now. It's just, I'm not gonna grow shoulders right now. So I think doing overhead pressing is gonna do nothing more than potentially injure that shoulder more than what it already was. My homie Jimmy, Superior Change, the one I'm always blowing up on Instagram, he has helped fix this. And when he touched it on Tuesday, he's like, oh yeah, we're in a much better spot. So we're gonna keep on what we've been doing. We're gonna keep making sure I'm just putting blood in there. I'm not really like trying to destroy my chest right now. It's like, the last thing I need in the last 16 days of this is to come out with a fucking pec injury. All right, couple warm-up sets. Takes a little longer to start making a connection to any muscle right now, so joints are tender and such, so gotta just take it easy. Usually I would maybe do like one warm-up here and just go for it, but that's not gonna happen today. Like I said, the name of the game is not PRs. The name of the game is not weight right now. I still need to focus on making sure that I'm getting close to failure. But those all-out grinder reps and sets, assisted reps and forced reps, there's no place for that inside of 6 weeks out. You start getting to that point and we're looking at a reduced recovery capacity. We don't need to fucking destroy ourselves. That's how you injure yourself and end up in a bad way. Right now we're at the point where energy, all the energy that I have is cardio, training sessions, the few in-person people that I'm still training, and steps, and I've got nothing else. I'll probably end up going home and taking a nap after we're done with this. Like it's not even that hard of a workout, but I'm like, fuck, I'm tired. Everything sweet right now is such a treat. Because the EAA is like, when you don't get a lot of calories or extras or anything like that, it's like anything that has flavor is like, ooh, tasty. Feels good when you get a pump and prep. still a baby pump compared to the off season, but it's better than nothing. These last few weeks is what really separates somebody who does well and somebody who just shows up. The people who show up and like are gonna be competitive and gonna be in like contest shape are the ones that can still fight when there's no fight left. And like, when I say fight, I don't mean like, oh, we're gonna fight to the last minute. It's like, it's not a fight, we're getting on stage. Relax. But the ones who can still show up and hit a hard session of legs, hit a hard session of back, like when there's nothing left in the tank and you don't think you can move, they're the ones who do something, you know? Even if they don't place as well as they could have at the show, if they're willing to show up and put that effort in and put the work in when they're suffering, that person will make something of themselves as long as they keep showing up. That doesn't necessarily mean they're gonna make themselves Mr. Olympia, right? We gotta look at realistic expectations, but the people who are willing to put in the work when the suffering is at its fucking highest are the ones that can do anything they put their fucking mind to. So you wonder why you see people who either used to be bodybuilders or are bodybuilders now, who have built super successful businesses. It's because they learned how to fucking suffer for what they wanted. So you gotta decide, what is it you want? Then you gotta figure out, what does suffering look like? And how the fuck can I get more of it? So I was doing a cable press. I was doing a cable press for a while because I wanted something. I was doing Smith machine originally, but it got to a point where things started to feel a little wonky. We don't have the best Smith machines ever up here. So I swapped it for a cable chest press because I wanted to do something that would be limited by stability so that I couldn't just like power through and use a bunch of weight. But now with that pec being compromised on this side, I want something that's back to stable, okay? And I like this neutral, or I like this Nautilus machine because it has the option for me to go neutral here. What you've seen me do probably a long time ago is like a tricep dominant press here, where I'm tucking my elbows really tight and pushing like that. But here, instead, I'm gonna still let my elbows flare out. So now that stretch is still going to my chest, but I'm not getting a really overly aggressive, externally rotated and stretched position with where that pec issue is on that side. So it's a lot more comfortable position. It allows me to still get some kind of pressing movement in here so I can work my chest and my front delts without pain and without injury. So that's why this is in now. So I can still get a good stretch at the back when my elbow comes out, and then at the top, my elbows are able to drive together. So I'm getting a really good stretch, but I'm also getting a really good contraction in the shortened range. So typically I'd be focused on the shortened range here in a fly, but I'm not trying to load my shoulder like that right now. So this is a great option to kind of make up for some volume with needing to pull a fly and needing some kind of press. So I said it in one of the videos that I posted like yesterday. It was like, there's weight loss goals and there's bodybuilding stage competition. Like people do, I wish that I could like, I wish when somebody came to me and was like, hey, I'm interested in doing a bodybuilding show, I could let them feel like this for a day. Because I guarantee 75, 80% of them would be like, you know, I think I'm okay. This shit sucks. Like, it's not fun. There's nothing fun about this. The fun part is getting fucking through it. Is figuring out how much can you fucking endure and handle and suffer and not give in, and testing your limits. That's the fun part. The fun part is not the existence of how you feel when you're shredded like this. Like, I don't go home and I'm not excited to just sit around, like, because I'm thinking about food the whole fucking time. So like, there's nothing fun about bodybuilding shredded. Lean, fantastic. Bodybuilding shredded, shit sucks. That's all the chest and shoulder work I really need. I don't know what number I just wrote down there. That was weird. So I've already done a rear delt, I've done a side delt. This hits both pec and front delt. And with the constraints of a hurt shoulder, I'm not gonna do any more shoulder stuff. So we'll go on to arms after this, because arms is awesome. But yeah, that's it for this. Wipe your shit down, dirty motherfuckers. It always blows my mind when we get people that come in here and want to lift when they're shirtless. That's fine, do you. If you want to lift shirtless. But when they lift shirtless, use the equipment and then walk away from it and there's just sweat all over. It's like, you're fucking disgusting. Bet you don't wipe your ass either. There's nothing super fancy about the Kaz handle. I just like the bigger grip. And it's tapered, so it fits really well in my hand. There will be some people who will talk about neurological effects from having a handle that is in that position, whatever. I think you're getting lost in the weeds. I use the handle because it feels good in my hand. It does, not everything has to be scientific. Just over to triceps. So I can do bicep, tricep, bicep, tricep. Get a lot of blood in both sides of the arm. I feel like if I do 2 biceps back to back, 2 triceps back to back, I start not to be able to output as much as I can on the second one. So I've done it both ways. Do it however you like it. So you'll see the cable is staying right there next to my shoulder the whole time. Right, so my hand stays in that trajectory nice and close because I'm pushing my elbow back. So like I could stand here like this and have this come out in front of me, but I'm not really stretching my tricep here, right? If I push that elbow back, there's more and more stretch on that tricep now, which, like I said at the beginning, the stretch is what I really want to focus on. I want to really overload that stretch position. So by pushing my elbow back, keeping that handle close to my face, I can drive that back, stretch the tricep, get a ton of squeeze out of that while also getting a fully contracted tricep at the bottom.
Cause otherwise you're still living, but you won't survive. Cause you'll be killed on the inside by your mind. Cause you'll be stuck in that 9 to 5. Yeah, 9 to 5, man, you motherfucking hate it. You just wanna be at home and be creative. But that's the way to do it, that's the way that you can make it. You just gotta manifest it, you gotta just go and chase it. Yeah, go and chase it. Otherwise you end up like the rest, yeah, living hella basic. Yeah, sitting inside some shitty basement. Think about your times every day, you just complacent. Yeah, man, you wish that you just chase it. Wish that you done did it, you wish you fucking made it. But you motherfucking did it. And now every day you think, man, I don't get it. Yeah, you don't get it, man, you feeling so upset. Man, you looking at the world and you feeling so oppressed. Man, wish that you could fix it, but you know it that you can't. Only thing that you can fix is your motherfucking self. Yeah.
I've had like 70 grams of carbs so far. Somebody asked me earlier today, he was like, oh man, you look better today. Did you have some carbs? No. I fucking walked away. It's like, we've got zero patience for dumb jokes right now. Like, I made a story about like the question of how you feeling? Like, shit, that's how I feel in prep. Like, we've all had those moments where if you've prepped before and you've heard that question, you've gotten annoyed by it at some point. But I think what is above the question of how you feeling, because at the root base of someone asking how are you feeling, they're genuinely trying to find out how you feel. So it's good intentions. The thing that drives me more nuts than how you feeling is dumb jokes about being lean or being hungry or being tired. Like, I don't want to fucking hear it. It's not funny to me right now. Leave your dumb jokes at home. So, good old basic dumbbell incline curl. I think people try to go too heavy with these, and then they end up pissing off their shoulders. So like, we've got 20s. You don't have to go that heavy with these. So like when I get here in this position, I'm gonna open up and just let my arms hang kind of naturally. And then I'm gonna keep my arms behind me. The purpose here is to stretch my bicep. I want it to be behind my torso because that's where the full stretch of my arm is. So I want it to be down here. I don't want to be drifting up this direction. We already did that motion with the cable curl earlier. So like I don't need to come all the way up here. The focus is on get that deep stretch, let the blood that I pushed into my biceps on the first curl now stretch and open up that bicep a little bit more. We stretch the bicep. First, we pump the bicep, and we stretch the bicep. This is the worst Arnold impression I've ever heard. So we pump the tricep, now we stretch the tricep. So this is gonna be the stretch position. But we've all seen people try to do overhead extensions that are like struggling to get the thing over their head. So let me show you an easier way to do it. You drop this cable down low. I'm gonna put my butt against the machine. I'm gonna lean over. Look, it's the same thing as if I was standing here with that cable low going that way. Just because my torso position changed doesn't mean the movement necessarily changes. So now I can fully pull those elbows up, let that weight kind of pull my elbows to the ceiling, lean forward, drive out on my triceps. Super easy way to do an overhead extension without having to fight to get it over your head. But it's also a great place to reinforce better overhead position for our arms. So if you are having trouble with overhead pressing or anything in this plane where you got to put your hand over your head, there may be some issues with like the serratus or different things like that. So having this where I literally have to be able to hold a load under tension here in that position, I can create better mobility. So like I'm letting that weight kind of pull me that way and pull my elbows up into a position that like on my own I kind of have to force myself to. And then over time the body slowly starts to learn how to get in that position and we can slowly improve that mobility over time. So I don't necessarily need to come over here and stretch my tricep or stretch my shoulder overhead. I can do it while I'm working out. Novel concept. So that is all she wrote for shoulder and arm day today. 16 days left, almost there. This is the final stretch where things seem to go slow but fast at the same time. I'm super grateful for the experience. I'm super grateful for the opportunity that I've been given by my clients to pursue my dream by just being clients and paying me so that I can do what I want on my own time. So I appreciate you guys hanging in there with me during this time and being supportive and all that stuff. And followers, family, friends, everybody, I appreciate you guys from the bottom of my heart. I don't know if I'll have another YouTube video coming out before the show day, but we're gonna find out. I'm kind of flying by the seat of my pants right now, but regardless, guys, please like, subscribe, share it with your friends. I appreciate it so much. That would mean the absolute world to me if you guys could do that. Until next time, guys, we'll see you then.